Welcome back to another episode of the Muse podcast. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you're having a lovely day. I'm excited about today's episode because I've got one of my mates on. I wanted to introduce you to one of my best friends, Sophie. She is so fun and full of life. I thought she'd be an incredible addition to the podcast, and we actually met through modelling when we were really young. So we've got some good stories together. So I thought, let's get her on. She tries to tell you all my secrets, which is very rude, but it's so funny. And she's also actually an actress, and she was on Hollyoaks. So we talk about that story, and you're gonna absolutely fall in love with her as much as I have as my friend. So yeah, and my musings of the week this week is about friendship, because I feel like it's so important to have friends that actually care about you. In your 20s, I feel like you can surround yourself with so many people that just aren't your mate. They're not your friend, and they're just there as someone to hang out with, which isn't always a bad thing. But I think once you get a bit older, you really see who your real friends are, and they're the people that truly care. And Sophie's one of those for me. She always shows up for me. She's always so lovely, supporting everything I do, no matter what it is. And that's what our friend is. So if you're right now going through that and you're thinking, oh, I've got these people around me, I don't think they care about me. Maybe you've got a business and they're not supporting it. You don't have to see them. You don't have to be friends with them. So yeah, that's my musings of the week. And let's get into the episode, because it's a long one, because we absolutely chat your ears off, but you're going to love it. This is Sophie.
To the Muse, baby.
Hi, Sophie.
Hi, Miss Chloe Lloyd.
Welcome to my podcast.
Yeah, boo, you did it.
This is so weird that we're sat like in a professional setting with a microphone, looking all fancy.
I can't tell you, the urge to just sing through this whole thing is going to be really
I know, don't you just want to rap?
Well, I didn't, now I do.
And usually we're like sat with a wine,
yeah,
at a restaurant, and here we are in the studio with lights. It feels very unnatural.
But you got me a blueberry matcha, so
I did. We're such basic bitches with our blueberry matcha.
I'm terrified of spilling on here, so I'll just put that down.
Yeah, we've got a very neutral surrounding, so let's be careful.
It is very bougie in here. Loving this for you.
I love this for me too. But so if any of you guys don't know Sophie, we've been gorgeous besties for 1,000 years now, about 12 years.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think we were besties.
I mean, we're not besties. You're like
I'm joking.
You're like my,
I love you.
You're like my 20th favourite friend.
Stab in the heart. No, I know. We have this discussion all the time, because I was referring to you as a newer friend for so long. And then you were like, so we've known each other for like 12, 15 years or something. And I was like, that just shows how old I am, that a newer friend is like 12 years.
Time just goes so quickly.
It does.
It's been a fast 12 years.
It has.
It seriously has. And
We've
we
done a
met. How did we meet? Do you remember when we actually met? Because I don't.
I don't remember the first time I saw you. Do you know what? I actually think that because you were one of the early adopters for Instagram when we were models together. And I remember like I had an Instagram page, but I wasn't really using it. You know, I was just using all those like awful filters and stuff that everyone used to use. But so I remember, I think you followed me on Instagram, and then I think I followed you back, but we'd never met. And so I think this was like 2011 or something.
Oh, this is a while ago.
This is some time ago. But I don't remember the actual first time that we met in person, but I remember when I really felt like we were friends, and it was because we were both models at Storm together, the modelling agency. There was a sports day at Storm, and I remember like after that sports day being like, I love her.
That feels like yesterday.
I know.
It's actually scary. No, I feel like we probably first was in the same room together was when we were at Storm, they used to get you all in the office.
Yes.
And we'd have to wait for these castings essentially, didn't we?
For hours.
For hours and hours and
Yes.
hours. So when you're a new model, you essentially have to go, wait for hours, and just hope that a photographer will want to shoot with you, sometimes for no money.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You'd just be there waiting, just hoping they like you for all day. And I think that's when I first saw you. I think we were all in a big group in the office, and I was like, she's cute, she's fun, I want to be her friend, we like her.
It always felt like being there at Storm, and I'm sure it was the same at other modelling agencies, It felt a bit like school because you had the older girls and they would come in and be very like, you know, like own the space, and then it kind of went down in year groups with like newer and newer and younger and younger girls, and there was kind of a hierarchy.
Yeah.
I remember really early on when I first started at Storm, and I went in for a casting, and I'm sitting in the casting room and I'm nervous with my book and my heels on and just waiting, and I didn't know anyone, so I'm just like sitting in silence. It was my turn to go next, and I'd been waiting for like 40 minutes already. I'm next, there's a queue. This older girl comes in and she's like, I'm just gonna go in next. And I was like, oh, and she went, I have a really busy day. And I went, oh yeah, sure, of course. And then just sat there, and then the girls behind me went, why did you let her go? And I was like, I don't know. And I was just like,
She scared me.
what a bitch.
There was a lot of that, wasn't there?
But I will say, most of the girls I ever met were wonderful.
Yeah.
And I just think there's a few bad apples everywhere.
Yeah, because a lot of people are always like, in the modelling industry, like, is everyone horrible and bitches? And I just feel like that's kind of sexist.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know why. I guess, I don't know, maybe...
I think it's a female thing. I think it's because a load of females and we're all up against each other. But
Yeah.
actually, I just felt really lucky to be there. And we just felt so grateful that this was our life. And we were so young, just like, wow, this is so cool.
Absolutely. And I've made some of my best friends, like you and so many of the girls are still like my best friends that I made at that agency.
So let's take it back. When did you first stop modelling? Like, did you get scouted? I can't remember.
Well, like there's two times really, because I actually started at 2 years old.
Oh yeah, I've seen all the photos. They're so cute. You were a very cute child.
So I think that's a bit weird if you got scouted at 2. Like,
Yeah,
so
a bit creepy.
that's a hot baby. It's weird.
That's problematic.
I guess my mum thought I was a hot baby.
Pretty baby.
Yeah, no. So mum, I made it weird already. Yeah, mum. I guess mum wanted to do it. Like she was a single mum, and so me and my sister, she put us both into modelling. My sister, who's 18 months older, hated it. Just cried the whole time, and I was like,
Thriving.
I've arrived.
I was meant for this moment.
And I started my first ever Huggies commercial, and the rest is history.
That is so cute, though. It's nice that you've got those pictures to look back on.
Yeah, no, it's super cute. But then I stopped modelling kind of around a teenager when I got ugly.
Stop.
Well, I went through like the ugly teenage years, and I think
We've all been there.
And I'm so grateful for it. Like, I think you need to yeah.
I mean, I feel like we all should have had those awkward teenage years, but these days with TikTok, all the kids are so like cool. Can't
Yeah.
relate.
I would hate to be a teen. I sound so old saying this, but I would hate to be a teenager now.
Same.
Having so much of your life on the internet, like let you be like awkward and find your personality and everything
100%.
like offline.
Dye your hair crazy colours. That's
Yeah.
what I used to do.
Like let that not have a footprint forever. I'm so glad that none of that stuff exists.
Oh my God, thank God. Literally. If that existed now, it would just be really embarrassing, essentially.
Like the internet lasts forever.
Forever. But so do your Huggies pictures.
They do. But they just last in my mum's loft.
Yeah.
So, but the proper time when I'd say that I got scouted as an adult, I'd just finished my degree in Brighton, and I'd finished my last exam that day, and there was a new H&M that had opened. So me and my boyfriend at the time, we went to treat myself because I just finished my last exam. I'm walking around, and I remember specifically, my boyfriend, pinched my bum, and someone tapped me on the shoulder, and I thought I was getting told off. I don't know why.
No touching in H&M, please.
Yeah, so I thought someone was like telling me off, and so I was like, oh hi, and it was a scout from Storm, and they was like, oh, have you thought about modelling? And so he gave me his card, and then and then
How old were you then?
21. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, I remember.
So 21 is quite late to start as an adult, though. Like, you know, like,
It's funny because we look back now and you're like, no, it's not. They are children.
Absolutely.
But back then, they had people doing it like so young.
Storm would sign people at like 13, 14. As I said, I would not have been signed at that age.
And that industry in general, it made you... I remember being like 22 and feeling so stressed that my years were running out. Like, I felt like as soon as you hit 26, they're going to get rid of you.
Absolutely.
How crazy is that? It literally used to give me that mad anxiety that I was like, okay, I've got 3 years to do this. If I want to achieve these dreams, I need to do it by this point. And now I'm 31 and I look back and I'm like, that is crazy that I used to think like that, because I just still even now think there's so much you could do.
Absolutely. Yeah, there definitely was. It did feel like there was like a ticking clock of how long you could do it for.
Yeah. Did you feel pressure because you were 21, not like 12 like some other girls?
Well, I felt like I was older because you get signed to New Faces and I was going around to castings with girls that were 17, 18, 19, and at 21 that gap feels huge, right?
Huge.
But yeah, so I felt like I was older than these girls, but I also didn't think I was going to do it forever. So I thought I would maybe just give it a crack for a couple of years and then go off and do something else.
I was just like, I'm just going to do it for a gap year. I could never do this. Also, like, you don't necessarily back yourself. You're not like, I'm going to be a supermodel. If anything, I was like, oh my God, like, when are they going to realize I'm not good enough for this?
Absolutely. Like the imposter syndrome. And also, I don't know about you, but I was always super uncomfortable if someone would ask me what I do for a job.
Yes.
I would just feel so uncomfortable saying I'm a model, because then I feel like someone's going to say, what, you think you're good looking? I'm like, no, I don't. Oh, I'm a beast. Stop. What?
I'm a beast. No, it's so true. I make stuff up. Like if I'm in an Uber or whatever and they ask what I do, I just say random things. Like I work in fashion. Sometimes I say I'm a stylist.
Yeah, love that. I would sometimes say, because I don't like to lie, so I'd say marketing and advertising.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Social media. It is that though.
Yeah.
It's like when you have to pick what job you do on, like if you do get a credit card or something. I'm always like, what do I pick? I'm just going to have to pick something random.
Yeah, they never
that's
have.
Closest. They never have anything.
Actor.
No, it's weird, isn't it?
Definitely not social media.
Definitely not social media. But we should be proud.
Yeah.
But it just have a bit of a, people look at you and say, oh, they go, oh yeah, what have you been in? What have you done?
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, now I have to think of something impressive. But we don't ask anyone else that.
No, imagine like I don't know, someone who says I'm an accountant, and you say, oh, what big accounts have you done?
Oh yeah, what clients have you got? How much have they made? Or like, how much maths can you do?
Yeah.
So true. Okay, so you got scouted when you were 21. And do you remember like what was the first shoot you did that you were like, whoa, this is crazy?
So yeah, I'll just speak from an adult now. The first proper job I got, I think I was probably doing castings for a month before I booked a job. So I refused to tell anyone that I was a model, because I was like, if I've not been paid to do it, I can't say that I am. So so I was really like, until I get that first job, then But the first job I got was for Avon. Underwear.
Avon were good. They paid well.
Yeah, they did. But it was for underwear. Mm-hmm. Now, so you imagine, like, I've not done, like, no one teaches you how to model either. People don't realize this. So you get booked on the job, and then you're just supposed to know how to pose.
Fully winging it.
And I'm thrown in the deep end of, you're not even going to wear clothes. Here's some underwear.
Oh my God, it was terrifying when that happened. Oh.
I was really grateful though, because that job, the photographer had the screen facing me. So when he was taking the shots, I could see the image.
So helpful.
So I could see where my body was, and I could see what was working or what wasn't. So I could just keep moving and until I could see if it was right or wrong. So that was really helpful.
Yeah. Also, I mean, 21 is still really young, but they were getting such young girls to do these underwear shoots as well. And it was quite troubling at times. Like, I remember just being quite young and just being like, oh God, like I'm just this awkward teenager and you're trying to get me to be like sexy woman in underwear or whatever. And you just have no idea how you've got to put on, it's acting really, isn't it?
Absolutely. Thankfully, Avon weren't asking for sex, you know?
Yeah,
like
that's true.
Avon's
giving
slightly
cute
older
Avon
audience.
vibes.
Yeah, so it was a lot more wholesome than that. So, but I know what you mean. I think it was more like the test shoots and stuff that with photographers. And anyone that doesn't know, a test shoot is when you just go with a photographer and it's not particularly for a brand. It's for you and for them to be creative, I guess.
Yeah, and to get portfolio shots. And there was times where some of those test shoots were so weird. I remember once I had a guy who was a photographer and he used to message me online all the time being like, oh, I want to do a test shoot with you. And he just kind of gave me creepy vibes, I'm not going to lie. And I was like, I think I did one shoot with him and was like, I don't want to do it again because it was just a bit strange. And so I told my agent, look, I do not want to shoot with this guy again. I think he's going to message you. The next week, they'd booked me on a shoot with him. And I got there and it was meant to be fashion. And I got there and there was just underwear.
bet I know who it is.
How
Obviously won't say.
How creepy is that?
Yeah.
And I told the agency, look, this is what I turned up, and it was just underwear. There was a stylist there who was amazing, but she was told it was underwear. So he'd created this amazing shoot, but I think he was just a bit of a creepo.
Yeah.
And then you're just like stuck there, and because you're so young, you just want to be kind and nice, and you don't want anyone to think you're being difficult.
Absolutely.
Whereas these days, I'd be like, nah, I'm out. This is weird.
Yes, because you also don't know that you can say no back then.
100%. And they make you, your agents make you feel like you should be grateful, you should be here because we're doing this for you, and so you just do it. And I then remember loads of girls shot with him after that, even though I told them he's creepy. Like,
I'm hesitant to tell this story.
Tell the story. I feel like I know which one it is.
No. And in case anyone finds the photos, and I hope that they've been destroyed forever. But
we trust in our audience.
This was really early on, in one of my first test shots. Oh my God, I absolutely cringed.
No, I know which one it is.
There's another one you might be thinking of as well. But this is super early on. And so our agency at Storm, they represented Kate Moss as well. And obviously, like, we love Kate. She's the queen of everything.
We love Kate.
So I'm so cringed at myself. I would often think, what would Kate do? I would be like...
You know who I would think?
Who?
What would Rosie Huntington-Whiteley do? She was my queen.
She was like a bit after that, though.
She was, yeah.
Like, because this is me like super early on, so I wouldn't have known about her. But yeah, I was like, what would Kate do? And I don't know if that's great life advice, because Kate's brilliant.
Back then, she was like rock and roll.
Yeah, she was in, So like, there's not a lot probably Kate wouldn't have done. But I was thinking in terms of photography. I was like, you know, her like provocative shoots and stuff. So anyway, very early on, test shoot. I get there, again, like yours, no one's told me the concept of it, that it will be underwear or anything. Underwear, fine. This is not underwear. I go to the stylist room. There's whips and chains and nipple tassels.
And what runs through your mind then as well? You're like, okay.
But like, as you said, like the people pleaser in me and just wanting to get it right, I was like, yeah, okay, yeah. Well, of course, yeah. Like Kate Moss would do edgy stuff. Yeah. Like I was deeply uncomfortable, but one, didn't know I could say no, and two, thought, well, this must be cool. This must be, you know.
And you hope it's like a whole fashion thing. It's going to be like Kate Moss on Vogue being like cool girl.
Absolutely. So I bear in mind at this point in my life, I've never worn nipple tassels. So they stick these.
What, and now you do a lot? Now every weekend, but back then I was really new to it, okay?
Yeah, it unleashed a whole new life for me. But this was the worst part. So they put these nipple tassels on me. But that's okay. So then, and then I don't know, some like underwear or something. But we were in a hotel room. So then they took me down to the lobby, like where paying customers were. And I think I had like a sheer dress over the top. And they put a blindfold on me, and they, oh my God, I can't believe I did this. They tied my hands behind my back. And like,
we're laughing now, but
this is so traumatic. And I'm like I've just buried this away deep inside. And I've got my hands tied behind my back. I have a blindfold on me, and they've just put like a porno in my lap. And they're just taking pictures of me in the lobby with people walking past. And I was just like, yeah, that makes sense. That's totally what people do. And then there was another bit where they put me in the lift. Oh God.
And you're just like, okay, sure.
They put a gag ball in my mouth.
What was this for?
Nothing.
Was it a test shoot?
It was a test shoot.
So what do you gain out of? What does anyone gain out of this?
I don't know, because what company wants to book you off the back of that?
No one.
But so that happened, and then oh my god. Just unlocked a new memory. They had me in the bedroom, and then they had a phone next to me, and they had the photographer like me in the underwear laying on the bed with the phone, and the photographer was like, "Can you put your hand like there?" And I was super uncomfortable, and I just kind of put it on my belly, and he was like lower and lower, and that was my breaking point. I went, "I'm not comfortable with that," and he went, "Okay."
Whoa.
He basically wanted it to look like I was, phone,
yeah, but
blah,
still,
blah, blah.
That's terrifying.
Like
that is so like messed up on so many levels, because that's not the type of job you're doing. You're not like an OnlyFans. You're coming from a prestigious agency.
Genuinely, I had done like the Avon photo shoot and like maybe one other test.
No.
Like brand new.
And that was your introduction
I was
into
like,
the world.
I was like, Kate Moss would do it. Kate Moss would do it.
Yeah, thinking about Kate Moss. No, it's true though, because I remember when I joined Storm, and I mean, I'd already been with another agency just for the summer because I thought, you know, gap year, we're going on a gap year. But then when I was going to take it a bit more seriously, I thought I want to be with who I think is the best agency, and they were at the time because they had Kate Moss.
Yeah,
and Cara Delevingne was just about to get
Yeah.
big then as well, and because I was a bit shorter at the time because. Really, back then they were like
you say shorter at the time, like you grew now.
I've grown now. I've been to Switzerland and had this. No, I did used to Google how to get taller. Genuinely,
No.
I know it's really sad. My mum used to be like, "Okay, we need to do Pilates. You need to," because back then you had to be tall.
Yeah,
it was a fact. Like you had to be tall. You had to look a certain way, and you had to be able to do every single part of modelling. And I was like. But what if we changed that a little bit, guys? Because Storm had Kate and they had Cara, they were already above that.
Yeah.
Like going with the wave. So I was like, let's try and convince Storm to sign me. So luckily I kind of entered at that point, and I remember being like, oh my God, when they said yes, I remember walking down the King's Road and being like, oh my God, my life is made. You just think like, I'm going to be a star, honey.
Yeah.
And that's just not how it goes. You quickly realize the truth.
Yeah.
So that's it. When you then go to all the shoots and stuff, you're like, okay, yeah, no, because this is what they will have done with like Cara and Kate and everyone. So now I should do it.
And you think that if it's a reputable agency are sending you somewhere, that they've done all the vetting and that, you know, that this is how it is. And
this is all agencies.
All agencies. Yeah.
Every agency. I mean, it might be different now, but you'd literally go to castings in people's houses.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you'd knock on the door like, hello, here's my book, here's me. And they're like, yeah, put this outfit on. And it could be anyone's house.
Absolutely. And actually to anyone younger listening, it makes me sound so old when I say that, like, when I first started modelling, iPhones didn't exist.
Yeah.
And so we had a BlackBerry. Well, I had a BlackBerry. Other phones were available.
What an iconic era, though. BBM was live.
Yeah, absolutely. And had a BlackBerry, and Storm would email me my castings for the next day, and at the time you had loads of castings, so it'd be like 10 castings. I'd get them onto a computer, and then I'd have to get out my A to Z book, a physical book.
Stop. Yeah, you were definitely before me.
Yeah, I printed off on a printer my day for the next day, and then I had to work out on the map, because there was no Google Map. I know it sounds so ancient, but it wasn't that long ago. And I had to work out how to get everywhere in my appointments throughout the day. So I'd just go off the next day with my high heels and a backpack, my modelling book and my A to Z. And miraculously, I just found my way around London. Like,
you do, don't you, though?
Being a model is like having the knowledge for a taxi driver. You need to know London so well.
It's so true.
Yeah.
You really do get to know it, because now I feel like I don't, because I put everywhere in Google Maps.
Yeah. My brain's just
like, off I go, just look at my phone. But
yeah.
I remember my first casting as well. I came from my parents' house up north, so I got the train down into Euston, and I was like so nervous. I printed mine off as well, because I was like, okay, I'm gonna go here first.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, what do you wear? I thought you kind of had to wear something a bit smart, so it was like as if it was like a job interview.
What did you wear?
I don't know, but I just remember being in my bedroom thinking, right, okay, it's kind of like an interview, isn't it? So like, but generally the models, like, it's just like black.
Yeah.
In the end, I would do that. Actually, I would kind of always try and do something like a bit personality, because in the end I was like, I got to stand out from these bitches somehow.
I was quickly told to not stand out at the beginning. When I first went to Storm to see if I was getting signed, I wore this dress. Bear in mind, I'm a student, right? I've got no money.
Of course.
I was living in Brighton, so everything was a little bit more like colourful. I was wearing this Primark dress that had an elasticated waist, and it was very pink and very floral.
Yeah, opposite of what they like.
And then I had, at the time, it was a long beaded pearl necklace from Primark, and it was like
everyone
was really
had
long.
that.
Yeah, and I remember walking along the King's Road on my way there, just feeling like I was in Sex and the City, like main character energy, strutting along.
You probably did look really great, though.
No, I didn't. Objectively, I didn't. This pearl necklace that cost about £1, it snapped as I was walking, and I just remember thinking, just walk. I just carried on walking with these beads just shedding off of me.
And you think everyone's looking at you, you're like...
I was like, all of these like really chic women on the King's Road, and I'm like here in my Primark pearls.
Literally.
And I get to Storm, and the owner of the agency And she was like, oh yeah, we want to sign her, but they were like, you need to tell these models how to dress. She was like, and used me as an example of how not to dress.
And you just got there.
I was like, I'm not a model yet. But yeah,
Savage.
I quickly learned black skinny jeans,
Always.
a t-shirt and a black leather jacket. That was the uniform.
Because I was shorter, I would always wear like a flared trouser that were long and a really high heel underneath. So they didn't know where my feet started and where the floor was. I could have been as tall as you guys. I remember just walking around castings being like, hey guys, I'm as tall as you. I was like, it's fine, I'm in proportion. Have you got any other good stories from modelling? Like anything wild that you can think? Like what, have you got any negatives that happened? Sort of anyone saying anything horrible? Because there was a lot of that. And there is still a lot of that for people.
Oh my God. Like obviously the obvious one is like the weight stuff with models. And I know a lot of models that still have like psychological damage from being told that they were fat. Like consistently being asked to lose weight. I'm really grateful that I never really let that get that voice never really sunk into me.
Yeah, I think it depends what personality you're, because I'm the same. I always knew that it wasn't genuine and that it was all just an effed up industry, so it never really got to me. Also, I was always naturally super slim, and so if anyone told me I was overweight, I was like, oh, thank you. So like my whole life I wanted to put weight on. I was like, oh great,
love
so
that.
I think that's why I'm in the opposite way. But like I had the nutritionist on, and she used to be model, and she's the reason she's into nutrition is because she had been so affected from the modeling industry, so it's super interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was told, because I've naturally like wider hips, like that's just how my body's made.
Absolutely.
And I was
we
told
love wide hips.
that they would have, and I think this was meant to be said in a positive way, but there was like, we'd have to shave your hips down to make you smaller. I was like,
please don't.
No, obviously they weren't suggesting that I shave my hips down, but it was basically they were saying that I was like at the skinniest I possibly could be for my body shape, but my hips were just like still too wide for like the standard. But yeah, I mean, I do think times have changed, but I still think that they've not completely changed. And I am slightly worried about this trend we're seeing online for the super skinny wave coming back.
It's really worrying, the whole Ozempic situation. And it feels like back when we were kids, when it was like the Paris Hilton era and all of that. Because
Size zero.
Yeah, I thought it was finally going, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy for the girls now that are growing up as models now, because it felt like they could be themselves, and it's all different. You see different body shapes on all the websites, and I'm like, I love this, different heights, everything.
Absolutely.
But it feels like now it's 360ing, which is really stressful.
Yeah. It does feel like there's more diversity though. I definitely see that, like castings on jobs and stuff, which obviously is a lot better than when we first started. Yeah. But I still think there's a little bit of work to do on the body stuff.
100%. Like, it's just women, we can never get a break.
Oh.
We're never good enough. And modeling really makes you realize that. Like, they're looking at you and they're giving you this platform, like, okay, you get to be in this, a model in this amazing agency, and you're still never good enough. So if you're listening to this and you look at models and you think, oh my God, I want to be like them, trust me, they still don't feel perfect.
Oh my God, as a model, you have to look at your body more than anything. Like I said, I had a couple of days of working last week, and I just looked at myself too much, and I started to like have like a bit of a negative spiral, because I just don't think anyone should have to look at their own face and their own body that much. I don't think it's natural.
That's the thing with social media now. All these young girls are looking at themselves so much as well. It's terrifying, because I mean, when we used to, and you still do now, with the high res cameras as well. It's like on this podcast, I'm looking at myself and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like, sort yourself out, like you want to make sure you look cute.
I had a rule though, when I first started modelling, I learned this quickly, that because obviously you're having your hair and makeup done by people, and it's not necessarily how you like to look, but as a model, you're not you are literally a vessel for them to do with what they want. So it's not about how you like to look, it's whatever they want to do,
which is really hard to let go of.
Really. So I had a rule that if I didn't like my hair and makeup, I wouldn't look in the mirror. So like for the whole day, I wouldn't look at myself in the mirror. So I would imagine how I looked, how I wanted to look, so that I could feel confident in front of the camera.
That's a good tip, because there'd be so many times where I would go and the makeup and hair just did not get me. They did not make me look good, and I would just be like, oh, it just instantly, if you are looking at yourself, you instantly don't feel confident. You're not as good as in front of the camera.
So just don't look.
Just don't look. That's a good tip.
Top tip. Don't look at yourself ever. Just imagine that you're like Cindy Crawford or whoever you think is a cultural great reference. Just imagine you're them. You have a great life.
And if you see the photos, just pretend they don't exist.
Delete.
There's so many of that. Like you turn up to shoots and you're like, oh, like I want to do something cute today, and then you're in this like ridiculous clothes that you're not into.
Yeah. Most of the time, like on model jobs, like, it's not how I like to look.
Yeah.
So. But that's why social media is better, because you have creative control.
I think that's why I ended up transitioning more into the social media world, because I like control. I like creative control.
Yeah.
And it just felt like modeling, sometimes you can feel a bit like a mannequin.
Yeah.
You're the person, you come in and you kind of look down upon instantly a little bit, even if they don't mean to. They're like, oh, she's just the model. You sit in the corner and you come on set when we want you to come on set, and you've got no sort of input. And I just hated that.
Yeah, it depends. I once had a job, and I think about this often because it's so weird. Okay, fair enough if they don't say your name, I'm okay with that. Like if they wanted to say, oh, bring the model in, they used to say, can you bring in the body? I was like,
and my point is proven.
I was like, the body? I was like, I am a soul. I'm a whole person.
I'm a human being.
Like, even if you don't want to say Sophie, like, just the model's fine, but the body.
The body.
But you know what? I reframed it in my head. I was like, they called Elle McPherson the body.
I was about to say that. Oh, they must just think I look like Elle. Duh.
Do Lulu.
Queen Elle. Love her. What a babe.
What a babe.
No, it's so true. Okay. When you pivot, so I obviously went a bit more into social media. Back then, you were like, I'm going to start acting.
Yes.
What made you want to do that?
Do you know what? I actually always wanted to act. I remember like in primary school, I don't know how I knew about this, but like those like drama schools or whatever they were, like Italia Conti and Sylvia Young, I remember hearing about them and going to my mum and saying, please, 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 can I go to one of these schools? But I was the youngest of four. She's a single mum, but she like absolutely could not afford it. Mm-hmm. I also didn't know that there was things like bursaries and stuff like that. So anyway, so I couldn't go, but I knew I wanted to act from a young age. But yeah, so then when I started modelling with Storm, I got a TV commercial and I just loved it. I just loved the moving camera. So then I started taking acting lessons in my spare time, and then had a really great agent at Storm. Shout out to Lou. And,
Lou was great.
She was amazing.
She was lovely.
She was literally the one to sort of help me, guide me into the acting. And I think that this is how it went down, that they got a casting through from an American agent for someone else at the agency. And Lou was like, should we just put you on tape for it? I was like, yeah, okay. So we put me on tape, we sent it off, and the American agency were like, oh, who is this girl? Does she have an agent? Like, who's her agent? And she was like, oh, she's unsigned. So they signed me. So
amazing. Yeah,
so off the back of that one audition that wasn't even for me, I got signed to an American agency. And they kept sending me auditions through, but they were in an American accent, and I'd never done one before. So then I went to see this guy for an American acting class, and I loved doing the American accent and was like working on it. And then
can you give us a little?
No, because I'll just give it to part because it'll be shit right now. Although they were teaching me to roll my R's. Oh God, do I do it?
Apparently, if you're Northern, it's easier to go American because it's more similar.
Yeah, it's like because we don't roll our R's down here, but he was teaching.
You don't have to do it. You don't have to do it. We're not putting her on the spot. That's mean.
I'm going to just sing instead. So he was teaching me to roll my R's and stuff. But so then I went to audition in New York for a bit, auditioned in LA where we were both together. Mm-hmm. And then...
how much fun did we have in LA, by the way?
It was the best.
I went there modelling and you were there doing your acting. Yeah. Were you modelling as well, or did you just I'm just going to act?
Yeah.
And it was just the best. I'd highly recommend, if you're in your 20s, go to LA and just have a lovely old time.
Absolutely.
So how did you get into Hollyoaks? When did that happen? So you went to LA, you're doing acting.
Yes.
When did it turn into Hollyoaks?
So I went, I did New York, came back, then did LA and did some auditioning, and then came back. And it was literally that first month that I got back from LA, I got the audition for Hollyoaks. And I mean, there was just so many people auditioning for this part, but I don't know why. It felt different to other auditions that I'd had. I just felt like it was mine, and I can't tell you why. articulate it properly, but I just felt that part was mine. And I think I went through like 6 rounds of auditions for it. I had to go up to Liverpool, twice.
Didn't know you did that many.
Yeah. And then they were doing sort of chemistry reads because we were starting as a family. So they were mixing all different people together to see. Then I remember when I got the job, I was actually, I actually saw you that day. There was a bunch of us. I got the phone call right before we had some event. There was a bunch of the Storm girls. I came in, I was like, got the job.
I'm off to Liverpool.
I'm moving to Liverpool.
So crazy. We were like, oh my God, no, don't leave us.
I know. That was actually like the job was amazing and I'm super grateful for it. It's opened like so many other doors. But the hardest part was like, I loved Liverpool so much, but like leaving all you guys and like leaving all my life in London and all my friends, that was like definitely the hardest part.
100%. I feel like it's amazing though that you did that. And let's get some tea from Hollyoaks. Because like, how much do people get paid? No, you have to tell me numbers.
Oh my God, Chloe coming in with the investigative journalism.
I'm a journalist now. I've got a podcast. You don't have to give me numbers here. I just mean like, it's quite interesting. Like people think if someone's on TV, you're going to make loads of money and it's going to be this big thing and it's going to be big fancy pants. But like, what was the reality of being on a TV show in the UK?
Yeah, no, we just did it all for free. So basically, I've never actually spoken about that. You get paid on Hollyoaks per episode.
Interesting.
So it's slightly different to some of the other soaps, and I believe that somewhere like EastEnders, they have a wage, and so the longer you're there, you'll be getting paid more and more because that's how it goes at a normal job. Whereas at Hollyoaks, you get paid per episode. So the more your character's in the show, the more money you're going to be earning. So then someone like Nick Pickard, who'd been on the show, who's Tony, Tony from the show, he had been in the show for the whole time, like 25 years when I was there, but he didn't have any like extra pay rises than anyone else.
Wow. Which
there's pros and cons to it, because it kind of like a very democratic way of doing it, because we're all getting paid the same per episode, but then more popular characters will be getting paid more because they're in the show more. So basically, to answer that, you can be paid really well or you can be paid just okay.
And it depends if you're in it a lot as well. So it's not that, because if they suddenly like, sorry, your character's not got as much of a good storyline. Yeah. You're just not earning as much.
If someone that you're on screen with has a holiday booked, they have to write you out of a couple of like kind of blocks. So you might be off the show for like weeks, and then you're just getting a very small retainer. So the wages can really, really vary, but I don't think that you're getting paid as much as people would think you are for TV.
Did they ever ask you to go on the Hollyoaks calendar? I remember this. Hollyoaks was just full of hot girls, and you were one of them.
Well, that was like, the hot girls were way before my time. Like the hot Hollyoaks babes they predated me.
Yeah, they'd have them on like FHM and stuff like that.
Yeah, but really embarrassingly, I had my agent say when I started, like I wouldn't be doing the calendar, and they were like, babe, the calendar's not been a thing for like 10 years, calm down. And we wouldn't even ask you. No, they didn't say that.
You're like, I'm too cool for the calendar. They're like, it doesn't exist.
And there was no Hollyoaks like later either, when they did like the raunchy bits.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
They didn't do that when I was on the show. That wasn't a thing.
Damn.
But we did get to film in Ibiza once, which was...
that's fun.
Yeah, it was really fun.
And how long were you on it in the end?
3 years.
That's actually quite a long time.
I know.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But I feel like you were on it. I mean, some people, they go on it and then they're known for being on Hollyoaks. I feel like you've done it in a good way. I mean, obviously, if you want that, lovely.
Yeah.
But you are like not too known for it. You don't look at you and go, oh, it's that girl from Hollyoaks. You can still be modelling on things and do what you want with your career.
I'm always surprised, because it was, quite a few years ago now that I was on the show. But I'm always surprised now when someone recognises me. I forget.
Yeah.
I actually had it last weekend when someone, my character's name was Ellie. It's like, oh, you were Ellie? And I was like, oh, I was. Hi.
Oh, yes, I was. Oh, no, I still have people say it to me. I'm like, oh, your friend Sophie, she's on Hollyoaks. I'm like, oh, yeah, she was.
I know, I forget.
She actually was. Yeah, good for her. We love this. How did your character end?
Oh, so, I mean, God bless her heart, she went through a lot.
Poor Ellie.
And she...
those highlights were a lot too.
Oh my God, honestly. I feel like I might have stayed on the show longer if it wasn't for the hair.
because they made you change your hair, didn't they? Like as soon as you got there.
They did. Yeah, I came and auditioned with kind of my hair as it is now, long brunette.
Stunning. You have the best hair.
You
really do.
Hair, sweetie.
No, but yours doesn't have extensions in it like mine. Yours is just healthy and stunning.
Oh, I don't know. But yeah, basically, I remember one of the producers said quite early on that there was just too many girls on the show that were like long brunettes. So he wanted some variety. So he was like, chop it off. I'd never had short hair in my life.
What is this? America's Next Top Model?
Yeah, exactly.
Chop it off.
I was just like, I didn't sign up for this. But then also like, if they said that I had to chop it off, I would have still taken the job. Like, so I was like, I didn't want to do it, but because also you forget that it's not just you're going to be shooting for 3 months and then you can grow it back. It's you're going to be living with that forever, for as long as you're on the show. So I begged the producer, I begged, and I was like, please don't make me chop off my hair, please, please, please. And
hair takes a long time to grow, don't they realise?
Yeah, and so then we agreed that he was like, all right, take a blonde. This colouring is not a blonde. Like, I don't think that my colouring works for blonde.
You.
Yeah. So
I mean, it does, but you just don't feel like it's you.
Or maybe, if it was like some balayage or something, but not blonde from the root. It just wasn't, Anyway, so they dyed my hair and I hated it. Oh, I just hated it.
I think you pulled it off, but you are just a brunette. Like, you just really see brunette.
If anyone sees like my original cast photo, I hated it so much. I just like have like stripy, like kind of really like warm tone blonde. It was. I personally hated it.
And going back to your don't look in the mirror tip, you can't really do that every single day.
Every day of your life. But I was trying to then slowly kind of like change the tone of it and stuff. But because you're on screen, you can't change it because
continuity. What's the word?
Continuity.
There we go. My brain was not braining.
Because you might be shooting from week 1 to week 12, and so anyway, but the producer did get his own way in the end, because then he created a storyline, or the storyboard created a storyline where my character cut off her own hair in an episode.
I remember.
And so I was like, so now I dyed it blonde and I've got to chop it off. So
Savage.
I actually chopped it off.
Forced you into it by making it
literally
a storyline.
Oh, it's written in the storyline. Too late. So I had to chop off my own hair.
Were you just like doing like an inch, just like, oops?
I remember sitting there in the morning of that episode where I had to chop it off, and I just couldn't have anyone speak to me. I was so fucking dramatic. But I was just like mentally preparing myself to go into the scene. And then they were like...
I feel like hair is people's identity, isn't it? I think it's fair enough.
I just... Also, I feel like it's just like... I always have long hair. It's just such a crux. I don't know.
I'd feel exactly the same.
But so I chopped it off, and then lo and behold, I loved it.
It did look really cool.
I hate to say he was right, but I loved it. I thought it was great.
No, it looked really, really cool.
I felt cool for a while, but I don't want to be cool anymore. I want to be long.
So what happened to Ellie in the end?
Oh yeah, sorry. She died. No, she didn't.
They still, if they kill you off, that means they don't want you back. They still want you back. Ellie could come back.
Yeah, no, they. She drove off into the sunset with her best friend on the show, who was actually like a best friend of mine in real life, Amanda.
We love Amanda.
Ellie and Holly, they drove off into the sunset, and I think that they're still traveling the world now. I think it's been like...
She could come back. Would you ever go back?
Never say never, but I don't have any plans to. It's not something on my radar. No.
And what do you prefer, acting or modelling?
Do you know what? It's really difficult. I think that acting I found more fulfilling, but harder. Modelling I think can be super fun, but not as fulfilling as acting.
Yeah.
But I'm not really acting anymore.
No. And now you're like me, you also post on social media. She does it all.
When someone says, what do you do for a job? And I'm like, what day?
Yeah. When are we talking? But you're working with loads of brands. You're doing amazing. What do you feel about social media? How are you finding it?
I don't know. It was just kind of a natural progression after leaving Hollyoaks.
I think it is. I think it's a rite of passage for models and acting. It's all as one now.
Yeah.
You can't do one without the other almost.
And I think a bit like from being models, we learned so much about hair and makeup and styling, and we like all of these things we picked up from the industry. And I am so nosy with products. Whenever I work with a makeup artist, I'm like, "What's this? What does that do? What's this? Why are you doing that?"
I'm the exact same.
I just love products. So, and I always have said I'm a marketer's wet dream. Like you can sell me anything. I want all the things. I want the things.
You're on TikTok and you're like, I'll buy that. I'll buy that.
Mine.
Literally.
But yeah, so it was a natural progression that I got a following of Hollyoaks, and that meant that that I get to like share clothes that I like products I like, and
did you feel pressure when you came off Hollyoaks? Because I feel like to then, like, it's like people when they come off like Love Island or they come off anything, it's like you kind of have to keep it up and post online, and you have to kind of look at what the other people are doing. Like, did you do that?
The thing is, I hadn't intended to transition to like social media stuff when I come off Hollyoaks. My intention was to continue acting, but I don't know if we really spoke about this, but I'm not really acting anymore because I had a few auditions when I finished Hollyoaks, and I think I put so much pressure on myself to go from that to another job, another acting job. I felt like a real pressure that my agency sent me an audition, and you've got pages and pages of dialogue to learn. And I went into my agency to record the audition. I recorded the audition. I put so much pressure on myself. I walked out of their building and had a panic attack. And I literally I was in the train station. And I had to like sit on the floor and I couldn't breathe. At that moment, I was like, do you know what? I'm really putting too much pressure on myself to get another acting job. So I just kind of like took a step back, and it's been a few years now, and I've not gone back to it. And sometimes I think, I should try and pursue it again. But I don't know, I found the whole thing really overwhelming.
No, I totally understand that. I feel like a lot of this career, the entertainment industry in general, is so much pressure, because a lot of people that do well, obviously they're super talented, but it's random what people get to do certain jobs sometimes. Maybe they have a certain look, they got a certain lucky break in this one thing, and it feels so out of our control. And that is not that's how modelling felt to me. It felt very much out of my control. I was constantly calling up the agents like, hi, can you get me this job? Like, please stick to what you promised me, or you said we do this 2 weeks ago, and then they never do it. And I just felt so not in control. That's why with social media, I mean, we're not in control because it's also about like followers and stuff. But you feel a little bit more in control because you can decide what you want to post, what you want to do. And acting's the same. Like, you don't know it's luck. Next week you could get a call up from Bridgerton. But you don't know, that might not happen. So it's
Bridgerton, you can call me.
You can call me too. We'll both join. We'll be the new sisters.
Love this for us.
Bridgerton is goals.
But also I think that you really have to, like with acting, and I think with anything, but you really have to want it. Because there's a mixture of talent and luck, but you have to want it so much because there's so many people that want it. And I just felt like maybe I didn't want it as much as other people. I don't know.
Isn't it funny also with modelling, people might not know this, that at 5 p.m. every night, we used to have to call them up and ask what we're doing the next day. We weren't allowed to book in anything, as in even if you're going to meet your friend for a coffee, we had to tell them.
Yes. And also,
unhinged.
Always with modelling, if you want to book a job, book a flight, book a holiday, and then you will book the best job of your life, and you won't be able to go on that holiday, but you'll have a job.
Always.
It's foolproof.
Every holiday you go on, it's like, okay, you finally got a job you've been waiting for like a month, and it's like, okay. You're single.
I am a single gal. That was a weird way of saying it. Sorry. I take that back. I'm single. Oh God, stop.
She's single. She's ready to mingle.
Oh, I'm not really that ready to mingle.
What's going on?
I like to mingle at home.
Sophie is like my single friend that, when you're like, tell me the stories, like just give me the gossip.
I think that it's fair to say, if I like you and I'm vibing with you, you should probably go check yourself into therapy because you're probably a narcissist.
Essentially, all your exes have been narcissists.
Chloe, should I just let you pick my next?
I would love to, because honestly, some of the guys that she shows me, I can't. I'm just like, Sophie, no. Why? Like, how? I think when you love your friend and you think they are 10 out of 10, like Sophie, she is. It's a fact. She's funny. She's beautiful.
Oh, Stop.
She is. You're everything. And obviously you just adore your friends, so you want the best for them. So sometimes you show me these guys and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
No. Please, no.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know if it's just like slim pickings out there or actually no.
It's tough out there.
Well, more so than that, I just don't really like dating. So I want to sit at home and I want someone to come and knock on my front door and like just be like, hi, I'm here. But like there's only a postman and he's like really old and married, so that's not gonna happen.
And you should never settle. You want someone that's like as good as you are, and there's not many of them out there. So
Maybe this is my problem though. My friends gas me up so much that no one's ever going to be good enough.
no, I do think like living in London as well, there's a lot of men that are just, they aren't like, there is quite a lot of narcissistic energy.
I've just met a lot of men with mummy issues. I mean, we're not going to go into detail.
Let's not. No, but she really has. Like, it's crazy.
There's a lot of mummy issues out there. So, yeah.
And you don't want to be someone's mum.
No.
God, no.
No, I don't. I mean, I would like to be like, you know, my child's mum, but not. You don't want to be your husband's mum.
No, you want to meet your equal.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Have you got any good dating stories? Anything crazy that's happened in life?
I don't know.
I say that like I don't know them.
Yeah.
I'm like, you do. Do you want to tell us any?
You're like, which one are you going to feed me?
I'm like egging you on. Tell us something. The
This-
listeners want to hear the
This is why I'm so glad that you gave me matcha and not wine, because I'd probably say some stuff I'd regret.
One day we're going to come back and do this drunk.
It might get me cancelled. No, do you know what? I will tell you this one, that this doesn't usually happen, but I had a guy come up to me on the street the other day. And usually...
It actually does happen to you quite a lot. Don't be so thingy about it.
But it's never like, oh God, if he's ever listening to this, then, you know,
listening to my
I'm sorry,
podcast.
but not sorry. So this guy comes up to me and I remember looking at him, and usually guys that come up to you in the street are a bit like weird or a bit nuts or something. They're never usually like, they're always a bit weird. But so he seemed quite normal, and I remember thinking he was kind of handsome, but like had really bad teeth. But I was like, oh, I can't have everything. So I...
Savage.
Oh God.
Poor guy.
I'm getting cancelled, aren't I? So I gave him my number, and then he texted, and like the texts were fine, and I was like, oh, let's just get a date on the cards. Anyway, I arrived for the date. I walked in and I'm looking around, I couldn't see him. This guy stands up. Oh my God, I looked at him and he's not what I remembered him looking like at all.
Oh. Did you romanticize the moment?
I think that when he met me and I gave him my number, I think I was ovulating.
No, but that's the thing.
And so my body was like, anyone will do.
That's the thing, though.
It was literally like, sperm, hi. And so when I wasn't ovulating, I was like,
Maybe he was having a bad day.
oh no, he looked like he was having a hard life. And the
poor guy.
conversation, it wasn't just about looks, like the conversation was awful. I
remember you saying you were just completely different people.
we just
when you
weren't
were
vibing. We
talking.
had nothing in common. Like I wanted to leave immediately, but like what's the protocol? How long do you have to wait until it's the polite amount of time to leave?
You need to be attracted to them in some kind of way. They need to also be
I was
on
actually,
your level, funny like you are, understand your jokes.
we just were not vibing. There was nothing there for either of us. And I think I was texting you from the bathroom.
Yeah.
I think you said that you'd give me an SOS call, and I'm like, no, it's so obvious. You can't be like, oh no, something bad just happened. Something bad just happened.
I must leave.
My cat. You said you hate cats. The dog. But yeah, so oh God, I didn't know how to end it, and like genuinely I would like some advice on how to end a date that you don't want to be
I
on.
told you what to do. She needs to, before the date, tell the guy that you're going for dinner after with your friends. Oh yeah, I'll meet you for a drink before the dinner.
Yes.
And then you meet him for the drink. If you like him, you stay and go, oh, I won't go to the dinner. I really like you. Let's have dinner.
Yes.
If you don't like him, you can just be like, oh my God, thank you so much. Lovely, but I'm gonna go to my dinner.
It's all in the setup. It's
in the setup.
Yes. So for next time.
For next
in like 3 months'
next
time.
time. Oh my God, we can put some microphones on you and record you on the podcast. It's such a good episode. We can all live vicariously through Sophie.
Me just cringing my way through a date.
So, my final question is always, who is your muse in life and why? Because obviously the podcast is called The Muse.
Okay. Can I say two?
Yeah.
So My number one is, I just love Cindy Crawford.
Love.
I just love her
Yeah.
so much. But
You
this
look
is
like her.
But this is, I wish. This is purely like, she's like, when I was modelling, I loved that
poster
era of
girl.
models and just like
It's
all of it. I
everything.
just thought she was just absolutely glorious.
Glorious.
But that's like purely from an aesthetic thing. Although she's lasted the years and she's had a really plentiful
She's
career.
a lovely lady.
My second muse is Miss Chloe Lloyd.
Me?
You.
Oh my God, stop.
Because I'm just endlessly proud of you and I love watching you just set a goal, achieve it, and you're always in your own lane and you're always just like reaching for the next thing and you're so positive and you're so lovely and you are my muse.
Sophie, you're the cutest thing in the world. I can't believe you just said that. I didn't even tell her to say that. Imagine, I'm just going to slip you a $5.
Yeah, you're like, please can you say this?
Say that I'm great.
You are though, and I love you.
I love you, Ma.
Me.